St. Pete and Tampa may have a long-standing sibling rivalry, but the final report from the ABC Coalition says those issues need to be put aside for the greater good of the Tampa Bay community. They say baseball can succeed here in the long term, but not in downtown St. Pete. It's just too remote of a location. He calls it the pendulum effect. The bigger the swing in one direction, the bigger the correction in the other. But since trading isn't out of control like it was in previous years, Luck says it won't be that big of a swing this time around. With no way to tell how deep the holes are and no way to tell how much cement it will take to fill them, it's like the county has to go to the gas pump without knowing when the tank will be full. Trains don't have to deal with traffic, and at 120 miles an hour, they also travel a little faster than we do by car on I-4. Sometimes you leave the casino a winner, sometimes you leave it a loser, but police say 3 suspects reversed the rules and left people who won big broke and beaten by the time they got home. A Chicago man is still unwrapping his Christmas presents after friends spent 8 hours wrapping every single one of his possessions in his apartment. Since he didn't appear to be doing much more than slapping paint on pavement, Stanko didn't need a license. With no licensing board to answer to, authorities say their hands are basically tied. He took some money and did some work. There's nothing illegal about doing that work poorly.
I'll have the jobs taken care of.
You could say Nick Stanko has quite a way with the ladies.
Man, you called me 35 effing times.
Don't say that.
Okay, I
Don't say
apologize.
that to me. He was rude. He was rough. He would have liked to have hit me.
But Jan Poole is hardly the first unhappy customer of Nick Stanko Paving.
Shaded, it's faded.
That was going to be finished.
Work guaranteed.
Never saw him again.
10 Connects first investigated the driveway resurfacing company 11 months ago as dozens of complaints from Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, and Lake counties started pouring into local and state agencies. The accusations, Nick Stanko targets seniors, charging them large fees to haphazardly slap cheap paint on their driveways.
We'll fix them up.
When we followed up with Stanko 6 months later at his Spring Hill home, he said he would repair any unsatisfactory driveways, and he was quitting the business for good.
Just painted grass and all.
But a new year brought forward new victims, like Jan, who said the shoddy work kept her up for 3 nights last week. So he went to Stanko's home once again, but he denied taking any new jobs and being in Newport Richey. He said it could have been his brother, but when Jan called him back,
11 o'clock today?
He agreed to return to the scene.
Can I ask you why you told me that you weren't at this job and now you are?
No, I didn't say that to you.
What do you want to say to the people who have been looking to get their driveways fixed for a year?
All they have to do is give me a call.
You've been saying that for a year, and people have called you.
You know how many jobs I took care of that you don't know about?
Will you please tell me one, and
No, I won't tell you one. I won't tell you one.
You won't tell me one,
No.
so I can confirm that you have done a good job anywhere?
No, listen to me. Listen to me. I don't have to do jack with you.
Much of the rest of the conversation was not suitable for television.
Because Stanko's work is only cosmetic, and you don't need a license for that, authorities say their hands have been tied. State Senator Mike Fasano says enough is enough.
Our senior citizens are being taken advantage of.
The senator drafted a letter mentioning our investigation that says Stanko is in violation of Florida laws protecting our elderly and needs to be stopped. Among its recipients, 3 sheriffs, the agricultural commissioner, and Florida's attorney general. Fasano implores them to take immediate action to get this person off the streets.
I'm hoping that when it's all over and said and done, that he'll have stopped what he's doing, that he's being prosecuted for what he has done, and if not, then we will have to address that in the upcoming session.
A number of state agencies are currently investigating Stanko, who says he'll fix any unsatisfactory work, but his customers say no thanks.
I don't want him back.
And that you should watch your back. In Pasco County, Noah Pransky, 10 Connects.
With the latest information.
Reg, St. Pete and Tampa may have a long-standing sibling rivalry, but the final report from the ABC Coalition says those issues need to be put aside for the greater good of the Tampa Bay community. They say baseball can succeed here in the long term, but not in downtown St. Pete. It's just too remote of a location. The group, studying the subject for the last 16 months, determined 3 general areas a new stadium could succeed. They include the Mid-Pinellas Gateway area near the Bay Bridges, West Shore Tampa, and downtown Tampa. And even though St. Pete will be given preference as the process continues, Coalition Chairman Jeff Lyash says this would be a lot easier if Pinellas and Hillsborough counties worked together on it.
We have tremendous resources here. That's part of our strength. It also is part of our weakness because we have great difficulty in coming together and coalescing around those issues that are truly important regionally.
The coalition plans on talking to elected officials in Pinellas County before even thinking about Hillsborough, but several members say they're looking for long-term cooperation across the Bay, like the two counties are working on with transportation. Reggie?
These days, the friendly skies are home to not-so-friendly air.
We'll be closing our door in just a moment or two.
More specifically, recycled air containing the germs from hundreds of your fellow passengers.
There's not much you can do with the people around you except keep it out of their face.
Yeah, you're definitely like, I'm glad I'm not sitting near them.
In a warning to flight crews, the CDC says anyone with flu-like symptoms should not board the aircraft. And with the holidays right around the corner, it's cautioning healthy Americans in high-risk groups they may want to avoid planes too. You would think airlines would go out of their way to prevent you from flying while ill, and some do. However, in our calls around, it seemed that some other airlines were more concerned with keeping their bottom lines healthy than their passengers and crew.
We are unable to waive fees for changes due to illness.
Operators from JetBlue, US Air, and American Airlines all told us that if we have H1N1, we'd still have to pay change fees up to $150 to reschedule. And on top of that, we'd have to pay the difference in fares, which on short notice is often very expensive.
Any change on a non-refundable ticket is a $150 change fee.
Regardless of circumstance?
Yes, sir, unfortunately.
So if you're sick, you can pay several $100s to travel another day, or just board the plane, possibly exposing the entire flight to H1N1.
I cringe.
Family practitioner Dr. Stephanie Haridopoulos says airlines that don't make exceptions for people with H1N1 are doing a disservice to public health.
Since we haven't had a flu season like this since 1976, policies need to be adjusted to our current times. And right now, it is a huge public safety concern.
Neither JetBlue nor US Air responded to our request for comment, but a spokesman from American Airlines said if a person chooses not to travel because of an illness or for other reasons, the value of the ticket can be used for future travel, minus the applicable change fee. The airlines would like you to buy insurance on your ticket, but that also means more money in their pockets. Plus, there's no insurance that can protect you from your fellow passengers if they decide to fly with the flu. At Tampa International Airport, Noah Pransky, 10 Connects.
Our top story this morning, a Nigerian man is accused of trying to blow up a Delta flight heading from Amsterdam to Detroit. 23-year-old Umar Farouk Abdulmuttalib is in custody this morning. He claims he is with Al-Qaeda. Authorities say the flight was just about 20 minutes from landing in Michigan when the suspect tried to light a mix of explosive powder and liquid. Witnesses say one passenger jumped over a number of others to put out the fire and prevent the explosion. Federal officials tell CBS that the suspect has terrorist connections and was on the federal watch list. Now authorities are asking how the man got on the plane in the first place. In response, President Obama has ordered increased security at airports all across the country, including at Tampa International. And as 10 Connects reporter Bo Zimmer reports, passengers there are worried about how it will affect their return travels. If you plan on flying over the next few days, you should keep in contact with your airline for security updates. Arson detectives are investigating a fire this morning that broke out in Largo overnight. The fire was at the Green Meadow Mobile Home Park on Seminole Boulevard near 17th Avenue. 8 units responded, and the 2 people sleeping inside the trailer were taken to the hospital, but both people are expected to be okay. We now know the identity of the man shot and killed by a Hillsborough County deputy on Thursday. 32-year-old Richard Longstreet of Tampa was no stranger to police. His rap sheet includes arrests for robbery, stalking, and obstructing an officer. Investigators say Longstreet was involved in a domestic dispute on Christmas Eve in Riverview, where he pulled a gun on a woman. Deputies responded to the scene on US 301, shocking Longstreet with a taser, but he was still able to kick the device away, and that's when a deputy pulled his gun and shot Longstreet. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says the shooting was justified. It's a murder case that seems like it was taken straight from an episode of CSI. At a Halloween party hosted by a gang, a young man with no criminal past is found dead in a pool of blood. And since everybody at the party was in costume, the killer has been hard to track down. Today's Crime Stopper segment takes us to Pasco County, where 10 Connects anchor Melanie Brooks tries to get to the bottom of what happened in Holiday. Detectives in this case are pleading with partygoers to come forward with any information. They promise that all tips can remain anonymous. And if you have information that can help, please call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-873-TIPS.